So I've been around quite a lot. I spent 10 years in my career at Netscape, Sun, to build platforms. And then I spent the next 10 years evangelizing platforms at Google, VMware, Microsoft, and now I'm at Docker building the future of the Docker platform. The last 3 companies where I've been at, I've really been at the heart of cloud adoption. So at Google, I was in charge of developer relations for Google App Engine, which was the first platform as a service. At VMware, it was developer relations for Cloud Foundry, which was an open platform as a service. And I've been doing developer relations at Microsoft around Azure platform as a service, as well as Docker. Yeah, so that's one of the topics that I talked about this morning, which is, to me, cloud. So cloud was born with Azure, with Amazon infrastructure as a service around 2006, so it's like 10 years ago. I remember in 2010 with platform as a service, we were trying to reach out to enterprises, and enterprises were like very wary of going there. They were using virtualization in VMware a lot. And what happened is that in the past 2 years, enterprises have starting to adopt public cloud infrastructure, and what they want is hybrid. It's a hybrid solution where they can build private clouds, public clouds with the same technology, and Docker and containers provide portability for these workloads. So that's why Docker has been so successful in the enterprise, because it helps enterprise just move workloads to the cloud and have that portability between public and private that they crave. Yeah, so in summary, I just told the audience the story of Goldilocks and the 3 bears in the context of that old triangle between infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. As in the Goldilocks story, developers have been telling us platform as a service is too high level, infrastructure as a service is too low level, and what they want is a container as a service, which is just right. So container as a service with Docker, we're providing solutions for that, and it provides agility, portability, and control. Yeah, I saw Matthew's quote, and that made me smile. We used to work together at VMware. What it makes me think, the way I present it usually is, because Game of Thrones is more vendor-oriented, usually I tend to be more customer-oriented. And for customers, the way I present it is more like Guns N' Roses, welcome to the jungle. It's true that orchestration is a very complex market, and there's a lot of battle around that today. I'd say the 3 big solutions out there today are Docker Swarm by Docker, Apache Mesos, and Kubernetes by Google. But that notion of container as a service in a portable way, I think Docker is kind of the best place to provide that to enterprises with both Tutum in the cloud and universal control plane on-premise. Yeah, so cloud-native applications are all about refactoring your applications into what is called a microservice architecture. So instead of having a big monolith that you would push to an application server in Java, for example, instead of doing that, you're building your software as lots of very small services that do one thing well and that can be scaled and operated independently. I'd say microservices are most often deployed with Docker. And what we're doing at Docker is that we're building tools to build, ship, and run these microservices-based applications. With container as a service, what we're trying to do is to make it easy to operate these microservice-based applications. Oh, unikernel systems is a really interesting, they're working on really interesting concept, which is there's a continuum They have this new notion of unikernels, which is essentially building a library operating system, as opposed to building an application that makes system calls to the operating system. What you're doing is that you take you break out the operating system into a set of libraries and you build them in your application, which means that with the right tools, you can build your application that just uses the file system access or the network access, and you compile that down to a full operating system, so your application becomes the operating system. The benefits of that is that it makes, like for smaller images, the attack surface is smaller, so it's better security, and usually they are faster because you can do a lot of optimization when building them. So for Docker, we view the whole continuum between virtual machines, containers, and unikernel would be at the end of the spectrum. And unikernels, to get broad adoption, need better tooling. And Docker has been really good at building tooling for developers to leverage the latest technology. So to us, we saw that technology as one of the important future ones for microservices. We're going to democratize them. For me, it's really about meeting old friends and meeting all the partners. One of the things I talked about in the talk is the fact that Docker is a whole ecosystem. And when I went out of my talk, I went to talk to my old friends from Microsoft and IBM and Red Hat. So everybody's here at the conference. It's a great place to network and see what the latest trends are and what cool stuff people are building today.